Thank you, sir.
Is that off mute?
Yeah, I think so. You hear me okay? Good morning. How are you all this morning? My name is James Hauser. I'm a consulting forester out of Jacksonville, Texas. And what consulting foresters do, basically, is we manage private forest lands. The Association of Consulting Foresters, which is the national organization that we become a part of, have a canon of ethics to where we can't buy or sell timber ourselves. We must work for the landowner and receive our fees from the landowner specifically. My company, which is comprised of myself and two other degreed foresters from SFA, Stephen F. Austin State University, and three technicians, currently manage about 175,000 acres of forest land in the East Texas area, primarily a 5 to 6 county area. And I know most of y'all, I think, are rangeland people, and how many do work in the East Texas area here? Raise your hand. Let me know where I stand and who I'm going to talk to. All right. And even though we're going to be talking primarily about forests and forest management, the principle of what's happening all over the country, and specifically in East Texas, is the same, where you're dealing with landowners who have a different perception of what they want in the management of their properties, albeit rangeland, grassland, hardwood savannas, or even oak savannas or pine timber forest in East Texas throughout the South. And it has radically changed what we as foresters have done. We've always accepted that, you know, logging's, there's no such thing as a pretty good-looking logging operation, but that's part of it, and you don't look at what's down on the ground when it's through. You look at what you have left up in the stand. And that's not the case anymore. People want to know and want it to look pretty as well as a forest well managed at the same time. And I think you've been through, I'm sorry, I've been told I can't move very much, so I think you've been through all the demographics and the dynamics of what's happening through the state. And Texas is growing. East Texas, my home base of Jacksonville, is 20 miles south of Tyler, one of the fastest growing communities in East Texas. Then you're also back further to the east is Longview, Marshall, all along that I-20 corridor where we call the Golden Triangle, that for us in that area, if you live in Dallas, you can get on I-20 or even I-30 and be within the East Texas piney woods within 90 minutes and much less than 2 hours. Those land values all the way from eastern Dallas to Tyler, and now starting to move further east into East Texas, are going sky high, astronomical values that we would never dreamed would come about. And there's some issues that we'll talk about that landowners have to look at. And of course, the number one loss of forest land is the urban expansion. It's not clear cutting, it's not the harvesting as most people would think, but it's the urban expansion. When you're talking about now, I'm on the school board of Jacksonville, and when you look at putting a new high school to accommodate for a 4A school, you're going to have at least 100 acres to accommodate not only the campus, the facility, but all the intramural fields and all that. And these schools are being built and coming up all through East Texas area, and they're taking out forest land to do that. And so we used a term, and Forest Service came up with the term, and I think Bogus's idea was boutique logging. Well, that died real quick. And no, that was your term, Bogus, and don't deny it. So we started coming up with either landscape logging, and I think Jimmy Hull calls it Starbucks forestry, if he talked to you yesterday, where it's not the same old what we used to do. And I apologize for you. These guys can't see the screen, but I'll move back a little bit. And what that basically is, though, is a timber harvest that does not look like a timber harvest. It means you don't leave the slash, and I don't want all this mess, and there are ugly timber harvests, and we still have people who, even in a good logging operation, still screw the place up, make it look bad, and leave a whole bunch of brush, and don't utilize the trees and the tops as well as they should. And it's a debris-less harvesting. Now, not everybody. The Jensens are an exception that you'll meet later on. They're more realistic in the terms of what's good not only for, forest management, wildlife, but also aesthetics, but not the real, what we would call sterilized aesthetics or logging operation. But they don't want those tops. They don't want the little hardwood saplings leaning over. They want it clean and like a park, and an aesthetically pleasing harvest area. And again, it looks like a park. In many cases, I just got through, and we're doing a lot of tracks outside of Tyler, which was all forested at one time, and still a lot of tracks. Subdivisions come in, And people don't want the 1 acre, 2 acre lots. They want 10 acre lots or 25 acre lots where they can put a house in the middle of that and then be buffered and sheltered all the way around. And they want trees, primarily pines and hardwoods, to be that shelter and that buffer so they can't see their neighbor. And basically, when we get on a tract and we talk to these, and all these people are upwardly mobile, they're very well educated professionals, pretty well wealthy. They're not your farmer types or anything. There are people here that have come in and said, I want this place. I know it needs to be managed. I want the health of my forest to be long-term, but I don't want it looking like a logging job. And so when we get out there with the woman and the man, there's two different kind of thought processes and expectations of what they're going to think the result is. I have a wife, and we have 193 acres that we've been managing, and even her expectations of what's going to look like in mine are different sometimes. So let me give you an idea of my experience since 1977. I've been a consultant in Jacksonville since '81. I am a member of the Association of Consulting Foresters, and so we've dealt a lot with this. This is the woman's idea, when you get out there, of what a logging operation is going to look like when you're through. And I know you probably, and I'm not picking on women, this is just the difference in attitudes on things. They expect to be clean grass and all sorts of things. You get with the men, this is our expectation. And this is all we care about. And I guarantee you, I'll get out there, and when we meet with somebody, I'll say, well, would you like your wife to go? Oh, no, she's okay with anything we decide. And then we go out there, and we're going to do this and this and this, and first thing he asks, well, how much is that going to bring? We get back to the cabin or the home, and we start laying out what she's going to do, and she says, you're going to do what? No, I don't think so. We're not going to cut that many trees. I don't want to cut anything. And so there's just perceptions that you've got to get everybody in. We encourage people that when we make proposals that they're not in granite, that we got to know what your goals are, and then we match the proposal. But we can change those proposals based upon what your whole family, if the whole family is involved, want to do. This is this is about a 14-year-old plantation, and it is a realistic expectation that was thinned one time. And that's pretty nice. You see how it's clean, there's not much brush, but at the same time, these planted trees have very little tops left. And one good thing about the timber industry in the last 10 years is our utilization of wood has been very good. We don't leave much in the woods anymore. We take pulpwood down to a 2-inch diameter top, which is just a little larger than a curtain rod. And so there's not much left, but if you get into larger trees, then you're going to see bigger limbs and things like that. And then hardwoods are the worst to be utilized because their tops just expand to where you can't get a straight tree out of it, and it costs too much to work up every one of those little tops. This is probably, may not be acceptable. This is an older stand that's been thinned. This is about its third thinning. And when I was putting these slides together, a couple of people were saying, oh, be careful because, and I just need to ask y'all's opinion, does this look, who thinks this does not look good? And you don't like it. Now that's fine, even Texas Forest Service over there. What about it does it not look good to you?
Rutting in the roads.
Rutting in the roads, okay. What else? The brush that's left down there? This is the perfect example as a forester's. I don't worry about that. Now that road will be bladed up and water barred and taken care of. But this brush and other stuff, and I've had people say, we want that brush pulled to the set and then we'll pile it and burn it. But for a forester's point of view, I don't keep my eyes on the ground. Your first thing that you looked at was what was on the ground and how it looked. Look at the tops and see how much forest I still have, how much sunlight now is going to be coming down and hitting the forest floor and doing two things. Going to be helping natural pine regeneration, and secondly is going to help produce some forage for wildlife. And that's what we're looking at. And I've seen to where you take, say, half more of those trees out than you've opened it up too much. And this is the forest management. And we used to explain that, and people say, well, I understand, but I still don't like it. We said, okay. And they said, if it's going to look like that, I don't want to do it. I'll just take my chances with the bugs and everything else. And then we'd say, okay, we understand that, but your objective is to make as much money, this is an investment, make as much money as possible with as little as deductions or expenses as possible. And they said, well, coming to the point now where money is not the point. I want to get done what I think I like and I want to look at, especially if they live on this place. They don't want to look at this every single day. The other thing is they're concerned about the fire danger. when all this comes out. And it is minimal in here. Yes, it's there, but it's minimal.